Right. So, welcome to, is it an easy bite size? It's just like just bits and pieces kind of put together. And I've got Raz, my brother, with me. There are no special guests because I did say we're going to have a 2 week break, but we're back, lo and behold. So, Raz, how's it going? How's it going, man?
Other than any kind of like technical difficulties, I've got a blank screen in front of me. But yeah, hi, it's Raz calling in from South Wales, Cardiff specifically. The weather's been beautiful down here. It's now evening, so it's pretty much pitch black. And I've been avoiding a few Liverpool fans, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one we actually wanted to talk about was the match in the Europa League against Sporting Lisbon. Now we've spoken briefly about it, but what are your thoughts about the performance that we put in, knowing fully well that we just about got the win with an ugly win. What do you think
Yeah.
about yeah?
Well, I saw your post, and I saw highlights of the game. So I was working late. Yeah, you mentioned like an ugly win. I think most teams, when they start getting into a good run of form, um, there's always going to be the match that doesn't run to form, doesn't run to script, and sometimes you have to win ugly. I think the fact that the rest of the few players as well, although they had a strong bench, just goes to show that Unai Emery is willing to give the other, like say, fringe players, the subs, more of a run out, and for them to get into some kind of rhythm, some kind of pattern to what he wants the team to play. Because, as I mentioned before, or mentioned a few weeks back, that when we start getting into the more difficult months, from I would say from November, December, January, those are the months when we have tended to like fall away. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Excuse me. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and then with one defeat comes maybe two, a draw, and then the morale of the team tends to have gone down. What I've seen in this present team, as moment in time, is that we have this fighting spirit. So the match itself was an ugly match. It wasn't beautiful like it was against Fulham and and other matches as well. So for the time being, I'm glad that we've won.
Hmm. Yeah, but in my opinion, well, not so much in my opinion, which my thoughts that I could put in the video that sometimes the win at all costs is more important than the style and the content.
Yeah,
And I guess that's what good teams do, or maybe great teams do, that they can win and they can win ugly.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I was kind of not disappointed, but I did want to see the glitz and the glamour of the performance we saw on Monday. But yeah, I just kind of realization that it's not going to be possible for Arsenal to put in those performances, game in and game out, because it's a long old season. He does rotate the squad, good enough, and some players do probably need to be rested. And I did realize that yesterday he didn't play Bellerin, so I guess maybe he's thinking that Bellerin probably needed a rest. But
yeah.
what did you think about that? Because we did win ugly, didn't we? It was an ugly
Yeah, we
win.
did. Yeah, it's an ugly win, and as you alluded to, the fact as well is that sometimes great teams, good teams, um, there's no. You could put the perfect script, you could put the perfect way for your team to perform. I mean, Sporting Lisbon did put quite a stern test. And let's face it, we're the second team, I believe, within the last couple of years that actually beat Sporting Lisbon at Sporting Lisbon's ground.
The
So
fortress. Yeah.
we done it ugly. We didn't do it with the grace of maybe an Henri or Perez, but the guys stuck to it. And I think us as fans, we can be a bit unrealistic. This is the 11th game, well, the 11th win. so far, and I like the fact that we're still under the radar. I don't care what all the pundits have been saying about, well, you know, it's a two-man horse between Man City and Liverpool. Fine, let them say that. In the meanwhile, let's just keep plodding along. Let's get those wins under our belt. Let's make sure that the team morale and the enthusiasm and the excitement that's generated amongst the fans as well, which hasn't been there, as you well know, and anyone who's listening and looking at us on this channel would say the same thing. The fact that within the last 13 games, come to 14 games, there is a genuine belief, and the players are slowly, going into that. It's gone round the fans. Before I used to be a bit apprehensive, but now, I'm slightly, just a bit confident. I'm not overtly confident. I'm not getting carried away, but at the same time, it's good to see that the team is, it's moving along in a positive manner.
I don't want to be too harsh on Guendouzi, but he did show his slight inexperience last night.
Yeah.
He looked a little bit out of sorts. I think it's going to take him time to adjust, not only to the Premiership, but to the regime under Unai Emery.
Yeah.
And I know you wanted to talk about the young players like Guendouzi, Torreira, Emil Smith Rowe. But do you think Eddie Nketiah will be some way in that group of young players on the fringe?
I hope
Do you think
so.
he'll get his chance?
I hope so. I hope he gets his chance, because it seemed like a world away when he played in that. I'm trying to remember what match he was when he scored the goal. What match was it? It was a Carabao Cup, wasn't it? Last season.
That's right. Yeah, he came on and
Carabao
scored.
Cup, and to me, that's a long way away. I mean, he's there. He's on the fringes, and I think that's the thing when you have a team that's performing well. If you can put in one of the fringe players, and he's a young player, I wouldn't put him as a fringe player, but he's a young player, and he performs, then that's the kind of thing that would give a manager nightmares. And that's a kind of nice kind of nightmare for a manager to have, is the fact that he's placed his faith into a young player and he's performed. Now, with the Guendouzi's and Torreiras, they've come in. Okay, Guendouzi started off really well. And I think when the midfield pairing changed a little bit, and he's been on the bench, I think that maybe that's the thing that may have slightly affected him a little bit, because he's coming in as a sub. He doesn't really start, so that may affect his mentality slightly, because he has to play everything that Unai Emery is asking him to do. I feel he's doing. He's got that old head on him, but it's the experience part now, because he's in a tournament or a Premiership where, as we mentioned before, if you remember one of the videos we did a lot earlier, that is unforgiving. So when you do a mistake, like when he done that mistake and Petr Cech saved him, it's confidence. So confidence breeds excitement, but then he also needs a discipline as well. And I think he's got the discipline. It's just a consistency now. And again, with all the other players, the one player I said to you before, and I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but if you remember, I said to you before about Torreira. Remember, we was outside the stadium, and we were saying how we had that conversation about if Torreira should have played in the Europa League at that night. And I said, well, he's good enough. Look, the man shackled Ronaldo. I'm going to keep on saying that. He shackled Ronaldo, and so far, he's backing up his actions. So a young player who's coming to his own, it's good to see. But again, the little voice in the back of my mind is saying, okay, well, we're coming up towards a month now where all we need really is just a draw, or maybe I don't want to wish this on us at all. But if a result was to go against us, how do we bounce back? How, the players, after a few games, you may get a little niggle, you may get a strain or something. Do we have the mental capacity to keep going, or to have the strength on the benches, as it were, to slot somebody in who will take that job on and make it very competitive for places?
No, I think as well as Emery preparing his players, physically, I think they're quite clued up enough to prepare the players, mentally. It's going to be inevitable, that we're going to lose a match or some matches this season. It's inevitable. We can't not go through. Well, we've lost 2 matches already, but I think that the mental toughness is already there, and it does come through, with all this camaraderie. Like we spoke before, when you see the clippets of them in the training ground. I was watching them the other day. They were playing in like this when you're trying to pass the ball so many times before the player in the centre can get the ball. I can't remember the name of that little activity there, but you can see the togetherness there. So it's inevitable that we're going to lose a match or another match or some other matches this season, and I think we are going to be prepared. Just one other thing that you mentioned as well about the negativity with the pundits there. That is something that really grates on me. I mean, I do watch Match of the Day, when I can, but I'm not going to mention any pundits' names, over there. But it's just incredible, the negativity there. Where if it had been a Man City or a Liverpool team who were on this run of 11 games, they would be applauding those teams there. But the moment it's Arsenal, it's like, oh, well, Arsenal haven't played anyone anyway. These teams that they played, well, they should beat these teams, but they haven't come up against anyone really. Listen, Watford, they were a tough team. They were lying, I think, in 4th place before we beat them. We beat Everton. Those teams will beat there. There's no matches in the Premiership which are a given. You have to win all those matches there. Whether the top 5 teams are in the middle, or the teams that below, any one of those teams have the capacity to beat the teams in the top 5 positions there. So whether it's 4 games on a trot, 6 games, or 11 games on a trot, we need to applaud that. That is a no mean feat. And I can't remember, when was the last time we got 11? We went on an 11 unbeaten run. Was it like 8-9 years ago? I think. I'll probably that's something.
2007.
2007.
I think it's 2007.
Right. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
What
I will say.
I know. Go on.
What I will say about the negative comments from certain pundits and certain ex-players as well. At the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and
of course,
I think there may have been a time in our history where it seemed as if we couldn't do no wrong if we did 5 or 6 matches on the bounce, and I feel that part of it is, this is going to sound a bit harsh, I think part of it was our own fault. When the way I explain it now is the fact that, for example, when we were expected to beat certain teams, when we had the capacity to put teams away early, when our tactics weren't deployed properly, and I have to go back to, I'm not going to bash Arsene, but during those lean years, I would say, when the pundits were on us, I say when they were on our side, maybe they're not really, but when we did beat the teams, or we didn't beat them as emphatically as we should have done, pretty much it was down to us. I don't want to give any kind of gravitas to any of those pundits, because most of them are ex-players, most of them know how the season runs, and they can make the kind of comments that they want to try and get our backs up, which may work in some areas. Some people will probably get vexed and get frustrated and start pointing fingers, but then we have to start taking responsibility as well. We had a really good team after Invincibles, and then we let that go. And it's taken us that length of time to try and get the confidence, the excitement back. And we're doing that match by match. So as I said before, they're entitled to their opinion. The ex-player, an ex-Arsenal player, is entitled to his opinion as well.
Mm.
But I think what the ex-Arsenal player should have said, he should have said that really amongst his friends or to the team, if he wants to get them to prove a point. When you put it out there, to me, it either it'll either put us together and for us to prove a point, or we end up proving his point. So at the end of the day, we've got to take some responsibility. We had some lean years, and you know this. All Arsenal fans know this. We had some lean years, teams that we should have beaten, and we didn't do it. So maybe, in a sense, what they're saying, and the reason why they're not giving us as much of the plaudits is because we've been there before. We've had too many false dawns before, and they don't want to get lulled into the false sense of security as well, because there'll be other fans saying, "Oh, you're always bigging up Arsenal and they haven't done anything much." Okay, well, that's fine. Let them stay with what they want to say, but we have to focus as we do, game by game, result by result, and then at the end of the season, it will tell itself.
Okay. Right, so let's take a quick pause. As most of you will know, we like to do like a competition, like midway through the live stream. And so this competition, the question is, can you name at least five outfield Arsenal players who never scored a goal? So again, can you name five outfield Arsenal players who never scored a goal in their career time at Arsenal?
Never scored a goal?
Who never scored a goal. I have the
Outfield
list.
Players.
Outfield players. And
from when? From what year?
Let's say from the last. Actually, let me broaden the spectrum. So let's just say from the last 40 years. So from the 40 years, we're up to date, to where we are now. So over the last 40 years, can you name at least five Arsenal players who never scored a goal? And I just see someone has just put a name on our live chat, but we're going to get back to that question at the end of the live stream. You know that, Ralph.
Oh my God. My head's racked. I have to pull up the Arsenal annual that I've got there to have a look and see. I don't think I'll be able to name one. Actually, I might have one. Oh,
don't tell me yet. No,
I won't say.
Someone has already put something on the live chat. I'll say, Josie, there are no prizes. There are no prizes. We haven't got any money in the kitty. But anyone else who wants to join the chat, again, if you can name at least five outfield players who play for Arsenal and never scored a goal.
Alex,
it's incredible, the names that are on that list. Yeah, tell me.
Alex, I tell you what. I'll be willing to give whoever can. If you got the answers, I don't. My mind's gone blank. Right, my mind's gone blank. I may have one, but I'm willing to put it as a competition, and I'll give. I'll give. The person who can do the five, say £30. We can do £30 in Arsenal vouchers or £30 gift.
Right. So is this for? It has to be a UK competition, because I'm not sure if you can use them.
Yeah, it has to be a UK competition.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry to cry.
UK competition. So, I'm willing to. On behalf of Canon Fodder TV, will give the gift is, or the prize is, £30. So £30, whether it's Arsenal vouchers or a gift card or whatever.
Actually, you know what? I will match that, and I will make it a worldwide competition. So if you are UK based, It'll be a voucher. If you are in another country, what we will do, we'll send an Arsenal top to you. So
Yeah,
that's what we do. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the names on that list is just
I'm trying
incredible.
to. Oh my god! I literally will be reading my annual Arsenal annual throughout. Just
Right. So
jeez.
the
Okay.
when I did my upload, I put out an 11 there, which was just put together at the last minute because I still can't get a handle on Unai Emery and the
Okay.
11 that he will pick for each match there.
Yeah.
Um, but with saying that, yesterday we saw in defense was Xhaka, left back, right back, excuse me, was Lichtsteiner. In
Mm.
the central defense was Holding
Yeah.
and the Warrior, Socrates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still think that if we face now a top team in the top five, we would struggle. We would still have problems. Socrates, with that speed test they did a couple of months ago, his recovery speed is quite good. And I guess I'm not sure if you saw the match. Literally, the guy kind of got away with him, but because his recovery speed is quite good, he managed to catch up with the guy. And actually, he should have got a card because he grabbed hold of the guy's
Yeah.
shirt.
I saw. I did see that. It was against Nani though, wasn't it?
Was it against Nani? I'm not sure, but
Or Nani? I know Nani went down on one. I don't like Nani, so I don't care.
yeah,
So
ex Manu, boo, boo.
yeah,
But
yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
yeah,
Sometimes
so
we have been fortunate. We have been fortunate actually in defence. Holding, he could have gone off as well against Fulham. Was it not Fulham?
excuse me, who?
Leicester.
Leicester.
Was it against
Oh yeah,
Leicester? When
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah. He some again touching lots of wood here. Touching lots of wood. Um, when those decisions go against us, we can't really argue. So far, at this moment in time, they've gone for us. But we have to be, big enough to admit it. And yeah,
Hmm.
when it happens, it happens. But our defense frailties has been. I think that's what's made us, in a sense, like a second half team, because we always seem to like let that goal go in, and for some reason we come out a different team the second half.
But you
But
know
like
what?
you mentioned,
What I've heard, the word is that Unai Emery. I wouldn't say that he tells his players to start slowly, but we are a two-half team because in the
mm,
first half you will see more often than not that we come out of the starting blocks so slow, but in the
mm,
second half we are a completely different team.
mm,
So is it a fact that Emery is trying to look at how the opposition are set up and identify the dangers or try and reconfigure Arsenal? So when we come out in the second half, we look completely different. We're a completely
yeah.
different team. But yeah, the slow
Let me
start,
get
the slow start.
let me let me. Sorry, let me jump in. Let me give you a bit of a martial arts aficionado, a bit of information. I remember years ago, there's this guy. His name is called Benny the Jet Benitez. I believe his surname is Benitez. And in one of his books, what he's mentioned was that when he got into the ring, the first round was pretty much about testing to see how his opponent was, how his stance was, how if he used combinations and everything else. And then the second round, he'll try and impose a bit of pressure on his opponent to see where his weaknesses were. And then on the third round, he will go all in. And sometimes his boxing ring experience would be that he'll either take the guy out in the 3rd round, or it may just go a bit further forward, 4th, 5th round, but he would always win. So to me, Unai Emery is a bit like I say a chess player. He's checking out the opposition, how they are playing, if they're playing high press, or if they're quite defensive, and he's matching what they do to what we do, or what they do to what we do. And I think that's the reason why we've become more of a second half team, because we try and match them, and in a sense that we have let in a couple of goals cold, and then Unai Emery probably says to them in the second half, before at half time, right, okay, this is the way that we're going to play. This is the way we're going to set it up. Now we have to go for it, because 45 minutes plus, once we get that first goal, I mean, look at Ozil when he scored the equaliser against Leicester. That was the perfect way to end the first half. They scored, they were on top of us. We got one back before half time. And to me, when you get the equalising goal, either on the stroke of half time or in the first half, you're expected to continue the second half the same. And we came out a different team the second half. Leicester couldn't live with us. So I think, in a sense, tactically, we are checking out how the first team plays. But my only concern is other teams will say, hang on a minute now, if they're starting slow, then let's put about 3 or 4 goals on them, and then we can sit back defensively and hit them on the counter. And I don't think that we've got it in us to score that many goals at this moment in time.
But
I think that we have to be.
Sorry to cut in.
No.
With all the critique that some of us do, including myself, after the matches this season, do you know what Emery will point to? He will point to that we've got 11 wins on the trot.
Yeah.
So no matter how much we think about, this player, is giving away the ball too much, or the defense is creaking, he's hadn't put Xhaka on the left back, and Bellerin's had to have time out, and Lacazette is not starting in the Europa. He will say, look at the record. We've got 11 wins on the bounce. What more do we want as Arsenal supporters? What more do we want? That's what he will point to. Yeah, go on.
I tell you what, I think what we want, well, what we have to be, actually, we have to be patient. And I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans are saying, hang on a minute now, we've been patient for the last 10 years and nothing's really happened, despite a few FA Cups. I think with Unai Emery, it is still early doors. It's very early doors. He's been in the job since August. 3 months. It's we're coming to November now. It's still early doors. As much as we like to get galvanized and we're thinking, 11 wins, that's great. And he's I would imagine he's thinking, you know what? I think from what I've seen on Twitter as well, because he put one of the messages out there, I think it's very much about galvanizing the fans behind the team. If of course, if it was Arsene and he had 11 wins, we'd be thinking, well, the guy's back. You know what I mean? But after a few wins and a draw and a loss and another couple of wins again, there's that inconsistency. And what Unai Emery has done so far is brought a consistency to the fact that the teams, our team now, they leave everything on the pitch.
Yeah.
They leave everything on the pitch.
Yeah.
Even, whether it's in training, whether it's, the first minute, last minute, they leave everything on the pitch. And whether it's a slow start or a fast end or a slow end, when he brings in his game management, which is one of the things that a lot of us fans was always asking about Arsenal, was always asking about game management, was asking about how come he doesn't get off the bench, was asking about how come Steve Bold doesn't get off his rear end as well.
Yeah, but
all these things now are coming in. I think actually on Match of the Day they did show like the heat map of Unai Emery, and he was for his technical area. Well, it must have been the hottest.
For Emery.
Yeah, it must have been the hottest map shown. You probably couldn't see it from outer space because he was he was in there, and that's what I think that's what we all miss. We miss that having a manager that can be so passionate about how he marshals his troops. And that's what he's doing. He's telling the players, he's reminding the players, he's focused, and the players are becoming that way now. When you think about it, it's almost a world away from where the players used to be. Some of the players before Unai Emery came in, where some of the players used to be. They used to be taught or told what to do, or look, you have to work out for yourself. That seemed to be Arsenal's philosophy. It may have worked when he came in, but towards the latter end of his career, you can see it wasn't working. There were some players who needed a good kick up there, and they did need that. But to have a manager on the sideline shouting, barking orders is what we needed.
All right. So anyone who's watching the live stream now, or maybe they're going to watch it at a later date, if this is the first time you're watching Cannon Fodder TV, starring Raz and myself, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button as well, so you can receive all the up-to-date alerts, news, the interviews and chats and discussions. Yeah, so make sure you can do it now. Raz, just a quick question. Do you think, again, it's probably a bit of a cruel question, but do you think if Arsene Wenger had still been the manager, do you think we would have folded against Sporting Lisbon, or do you think we would have probably just escaped with a draw?
You see, these things. It's a bit of a cruel question because it's like trying to see into something that we're never going to know the answer to. It'd be quite easy for me to say, well, either we would have lost that match, we would have drawn the match, we may have had somebody sent off. There's so many questions. I think the mentality, and to me, it's always about mentality. The mentality of the team last season, seasons before, was pretty much that match would have gone away from us if Sporting Lisbon had scored. You're looking at who's gonna be the one to lead the team. Who's the one who's going to try and put the ball in the back of the net for us? Why is the manager still sat down there, not pointing the finger and telling someone to shift? So,
hey,
it's a cool question, but it's an understandable question.
But your guy scored, didn't he? Bambi and I scored. He saved the day.
Your guy. Your guy. Your guy. Let's get this straight. If you're gonna bounce it back at me, I'm gonna bounce it back at you, right? Your guy. The amount of times, and anyone who has followed our channel from when we was Arsenal Republic TV, and now we're presently Cannon Fodder TV. Anyone who's seen, but we always said that, oh my God, he's the guy. The guy is an enigma. He's an enigma. But he's doing what he's meant to be doing.
Yeah. I wonder if he's still going to be a target, to be sold, because again, he's one of those players who've allowed his contract to run.
Will you sell him?
No, like I said, he's a good plan B, because if God forbid, if Lacazette or Aubameyang get injured, who else we're gonna have? I mean, we could put in Eddie and Nketiah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Danny Welbeck is the most experienced in the Premiership out of all our strikers.
You see, that's another thing.
No, I wouldn't sell him.
That's another thing that I have to be. I'm a bit upset for him, and this is a rarity, I have to say. Because during the World Cup, obviously Kane was like firing them in, and that's the only time I'm going to mention him. but he was tiring out, and I can't understand why they didn't put Danny Welbeck in, because he's got a good record playing for England. Now he's come up to his last year of his contract, and I think what is, I can't read his mind or anything. He is doing what I suppose a plan B striker would do, and I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful form. He puts the ball in the back of the net. He's scored at crucial times, and all he's got to do now is just keep on doing that, and he can go up to Unai Emery and say, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to sign? Are you going to improve on my contract, or do you want me to leave? I can go on the free." So, yeah, Danny Welbeck, that's your man, Alex. So I'm not gonna trash him.
That's your man there. All right.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's just say.
So the next Premiership match
is going to be.
Yeah, go for it.
No, so I was just saying, despite the fact that we've been pointing fingers at like people like Ramsey and Bellerin, Ozil and Welbeck, at this moment in time, let's put that on one side. They're performing. The manager's got them performing, and we just have to go forward with our next match.
Which is on Sunday against Crystal Palace. Would you call Crystal Palace our bogey team? Crystal Palace a bogey team for Arsenal?
I thought Watford was our bogey team. Crystal Palace is a team that they've got a couple of players in there, like Wilfred Zaha. He's their main man. You know what I mean? I won't say bogey. They're capable of making it difficult for us.
Yeah,
we just have to. I say shackle. No, not shackle. We just have to impose ourselves. Not being this again. Anyone who, if we do have other fans from other teams watching the channel, I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful way. Crystal Palace is one of the teams that one of our famous players came from, Wrighty came from. So once I've got a soft spot for them, I appreciate them, but they're a team that's they're in the way of what we're trying to achieve. So we're going away. We have to impose our will on them. I don't think it's going to be easy. None of these matches, as you mentioned at the start, they're not easy at all, because one or two goals will make a difference.
Yeah.
And we have to start looking at ourselves to see what happens if the result was to go sideways, if it becomes a draw. I'm not thinking about anything else other than that.
Okay, so, I've got a quick question. There's just one question that's come through on the live chat again. I recognize Mr. Arsenal podcast. That's Ryan. Hi, Ryan. How's it going out there? Now, we've already spoken about this briefly, Ryan. I guess maybe you've just joined us a little bit over the last few minutes. And what Ryan is saying is, what are your thoughts on the public slating Paul Merson is continuing to give Arsenal, even though we are on this amazing winning run? Now, Ryan, I did say previously that I thought it's incredible, because if you had been any of the top, the top three teams like Man City or Liverpool or maybe Chelsea as well, who was on this fantastic run, the pundits would have been going crazy. But because it's Arsenal, it's like they're saying, "Oh well, yeah, Arsenal haven't played anyone anyway of real competition anyway." But I just find that the undercurrent of the slating that some of the pundits on Match of the Day there, and like you mentioned there, Paul Merson, Ryan. Yeah, I just think it's absolutely disgusting there. But yeah, we've already covered that topic. Yeah, I just think, yeah. I mean, they are entitled to their own opinion, but we're on an 11-game unbeaten run. Anyway.
Do you want me to add to it? Or
yeah, quickly, because I'm sure Ryan would
okay.
want to hear your opinion as well. So.
Okay, Ryan, I did mention before that everyone is entitled to their opinion. I mentioned that we have to bear some of that responsibility ourselves. It may sound a bit harsh, it may sound a bit unfair, but when you see the team that we used to have under Arsene Wenger, and we was meant to beat, again, not being disrespectful, some of the teams below the top four. We let ourselves down in certain areas, and we had also pulled up that we said we're gonna win the Premiership this year, and we're gonna win this cup that year, and blah blah blah, and we failed to do so. So we have to bear some of that responsibility. It may sound a bit harsh, but on the other hand, I'd rather that we are going under the radar. Let everybody talk about Liverpool. Let everybody talk about Man United, Chelsea, Man City. That's fine. I don't really look at them anymore, really, because I'm focused on what my team's doing. And I look at the training videos. I look at the responses from fans like ourselves. That's where my focus is on. And then we take it one game at a time. So, yeah, Paul Merson is entitled to his opinion. As I mentioned on the channel here earlier, that I feel that that's something that he could have said to the team. If he wants to put it out there, he could have said it to the team. He could do it within four walls. I did put on Twitter that if he's entitled to his opinion, but when you put it out there, there's only two ways it can go. We either prove him wrong, or we prove us right. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's the way it goes.
Okay, so let's go on to the prediction. What's your prediction for Sunday against Crystal Palace? Because I think Crystal Palace, actually I wrote some notes here, that they've won one, they've drawn one, and they've lost 6 on this campaign in the Premiership. I think the main problem is they don't have an out-and-out striker. I know they had Christian and Benteke, but I think since he left Liverpool, he's just been on a downward spiral with his game play. Roy Hodgson, he's a seasoned campaigner, ex England manager there. But yeah, they're just not scoring enough goals. And I think over the last 2 matches, maybe someone will correct me wrong, they have employed Andros Townsend as their main striker, and he's not a striker; he's a winger.
Yeah, he played for England as well, and I thought that he had a good chance to go over the team. I think to the Euros a few years back.
Yeah, but I think there was some problem. I think on the training ground when he was at that team down the road with the coaching staff, and I think he had a clash, and I think he hasn't been chosen for England ever since. So Crystal Palace are lying 15th in the Premiership. Excuse me again. I don't want Arsenal to take any team like I said at the beginning of the live stream. There's no given matches. All the teams in the Premiership have the capacity and the capability of beating the top teams. I mean, look at Brighton. They beat Man U. So Emery will make sure that his players are prepared. But I think come Sunday, we might see a little bit of that glitz and glamour come back that was missing yesterday in that match there. But yeah, my prediction, actually, no, before I say the prediction, I think the lineup will be Leno in goal. I'm not sure if Monreal is going to be fit and ready to go.
I don't think he's going to be back in time either.
Yeah, I would like to see him at left back rather than Xhaka, even though Xhaka is one of my main man there. Right back, I imagine Bellerin will be back. Now that we've seen Socrates played yesterday, I think he'll be back in with Mustafi. The dynamic duo will be Xhaka and Torreira in just in front of the back four. We will see Mkhitaryan or Iwobi on the right. Ozil in the number 10, Aubameyang on the left, and Xhaka.
Lacazette.
Yeah.
Lacazette.
Lacazette up top. My prediction
Yeah.
for the scoreline, it will be 3-0 to Arsenal. What say
Wow.
you, Master?
Oh. Okay. Um, I I still fancy Holding to play centre. I think he hasn't done much wrong, to be honest. I know he got away with it
Mm.
a couple of times, um, especially against Leicester.
Yeah.
It's all the pairing. I think he does play well with Mustafi, and Mustafi's been playing well as well. Fortunately
Mm.
enough, it'd be nice to see Monreal come back. But yeah, I think your prediction, your selection, team selection, um, is right because Ozil and I like Iwobi. I think Iwobi has come up leaps and bounds. He's come up leaps and
Yeah.
bounds. So
Yeah.
it'd be good to see. But although he came on a sub, didn't he? The other night or last night. So, but I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game
You don't?
because
Really?
no, yeah, yeah. Even though if that team is low on confidence and everything, they will still come out because they've got nothing to lose. These teams, we have to be very careful. The
Mm.
teams that we think we're going to like walk past maybe 2 or 3 goals, they have nothing to lose.
Mm.
All they're going to do is they know that we're prone to start slow. As we mentioned, we alluded to this before as well.
Mm.
We start slow. They're
So
going
what
to
about your
start
starting 11
fast.
then?
Sorry.
What about your starting 11? What's your starting 11
Okay, so Leno,
for Arsenal?
Monreal. I would like Holding, Mustafi, Bellerin. I like I like Guendouzi and Torreira, but I think it's going to be Torreira. No, actually, I think it's going to be Shaka and Guendouzi. Torreira will it will either start or he'll come in as a sub.
Mm.
Then we got Iwobi, Ozil drifting in, and then Lacazette and the Aubameyang to continue their bromance.
All right. Before you continue anymore, let me quickly go to the chat. There are a couple more questions, and I'm going to
Okay.
put these questions to you, not for me. So again, Ryan, Ryan.
I've had enough. I've had enough.
All right, Ryan. I'm going to represent him. I'm going to represent. So Ryan is saying again. Do you guys keep Özil in the starting 11 whilst he's in form, or use only for league matches? Ryan, if you saw the
I'll
last
keep
live stream we did with oh my goodness, I forgot his name now. Oh my
Mulberry.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said that I would be very surprised if Emery were to put Özil back in for the Leicester City match, because I thought
Yeah.
that he chooses players who are on form, not because they're on megabucks. And lo and behold, he put Özil in, and Özil, literally, he made captain and he scored that fantastic goal there. So yeah, I'm always in favour of playing players who are in form, not because players demand massive wages or the headline players. We should always play players who are in form. So the short answer to your question is, I guess Özil played quite well on Monday, so let's continue to play Özil.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Ralph? Will you play Özil?
I agree with that as well. He's a player who he plays on confidence, and you just got to see the two Ozils from last season, this season. Although he didn't feature much against against Man City, I believe he played Man City and Chelsea. He was pretty much like Mr. Invisible. So he plays with confidence. Oh, I think actually he had a back spasm against the Chelsea match, I think. So at this moment in time, the team is performing. To me, it's like an unwritten rule. When the team's performing, you keep them together. When injuries and cards start affecting the team, then you have to adjust your team accordingly. And to me, Ozil's playing with a sense of confidence. I think responsibility to how much he's earning, that hasn't crept in as such, because as far as he's concerned, he's on the pitch, he does what he does best. And when the team's winning, then he's happy. If he contributes by scoring or assisting, then he's again it's all happy days. So
and there's another question. Sorry, there's another question. It's from Chelsea Doncor, and he's saying that why can't we kill teams off in the first half? Is this an Emery tactic? I again, like we said, before, maybe just you didn't live stream. I think we are still trying to get that DNA out of the Arsenal, which is the Arsene Wenger way, where we've always started slow. That's one thing. The second thing is, I think Emery and his coaching team are looking to see how the opposition, are in whilst the game is running, so he can tinker and make the changes as of when is necessary. And the third thing is Emery still doesn't know, which is his perfect or best 11. He's still trying to figure it out. And as Raz said, it's still early days. So that is going to take time. It will take time until we have the perfect 11 that will get out of the starting blocks very, very quickly and, shut the doors, early doors. But yeah, we're still a team in transition. That's what I think anyway. What do you think, Raz? Why can't we kill teams off in the first half?
One, I think we don't kill teams. We don't kill teams first, because I don't think it's an Arsenal thing. I don't. As long as I've been an Arsenal supporter, I don't think it's a thing that we ever have done in our history, that we just kill a team off. There's always some kind of drama. We either score a brace and then we slow it down, and we allow the team to score maybe one or two towards the end, or we're thinking about the next fixture when we shouldn't be. We should be focused on getting that fixture, that match out the way. Or it could be just the fact that teams are just wising up a bit to us, and they're a bit more resilient. As a fan, you want your team to get rid of that team as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does happen. It used to happen for us many years ago. But if you go through the history of Arsenal, especially against some of the top teams, there's always been a bit of drama towards either at the beginning or towards the end. We've never ever done anything easy. And any team that we have beaten easy, would have been like a lower team, and it seems as if we're bullying. That's one of the comments I remember a certain pundit did say. He just said that we bully teams, and yet when it comes to us, we get bullied. So
yeah, listen,
I think
I don't want to cut you off, Raz, because literally we're running low on time. But
okay.
Chelsea Donko, he's saying, but isn't this a guy who reviews teams before games with videos? Yes, he is. We know that he's very, meticulous.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you're trying to, you have a philosophy, and you're trying to instill that philosophy with the players, and the players are actually it takes time. It does take time, But as fans, we do want to see that change, sooner rather than later. But again, the team are in transition. Excuse me, transition. But that philosophy, on the whiteboard or the pad or the gameplay they go through before matches, but to get that on the pitch is very, very difficult, and it will take time. But it's a good question, Joseph. Very good question. So quickly, Ralph. Again, what's your 11 for? Sorry, we went off track.
I told you my 11.
All right. Okay. So no. So what it was?
I said the score is going to be. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be something like maybe 1-2-1 or 3-2. It's going to be something like that, because let's not forget we've had like 2 games pretty much within a week. It's going to be our 3rd game as well. The matches are coming thick and fast after this international break.
Yeah.
So to find run of consistency, to continue on the level that we are at this moment in time, we have to be very careful. We have to take it game by game. Let's just if we start slow and then we succeed in the end, then fine. But let's not underestimate Crystal Palace.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Ryan's asking our captain. Who's our captain for Sunday? Ryan, I've got no idea. I would like to see. I mean, I was surprised to see Özil had the armband on Monday, and it gave him like a extra charge, and it gave him the sense of responsibility. Would I like to see Özil have the armband again on Sunday? For continuity, yes, but really, one player I would love to have the armband is Granit Xhaka. Really, Granit Xhaka. But that's just my yeah. You're
Really?
right. Just saying. Say again.
Really? You have Xhaka as captain?
Yeah, you know why? Because he's in the center of. He's in the midfield. He can see what's going on. But if you're on the left hand side or you're the goalkeeper, you've been given the armband. You don't get a good perspective of what's really going on there. And as well, you don't want the goalkeeper to be distracted by the manager
Well, no.
shouting instructions. So someone in midfield or central defense.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Alex, I can't hear you. Hello. Typical. Alex, I can't hear you. Oh, it's left. I've got vision, but I can't hear anyone. Hello. Have we gone? Alex,
Yo,
what happened?
there's a slight power shortage here.
Are we
I was there
still?
talking to myself.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think we're still broadcasting, but anyway, we're just carrying on talking anyway.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, what were what were we saying? I was about the captain. It was about the
Yeah.
captain who.
Well, you said for
Yeah,
consistency, you still keep Ozil.
yeah. I would keep Ozil.
Okay.
I would
Yeah,
still
yeah.
keep him.
I've said, if the team is functioning in the right way, and it's winning, then keep going. So yeah.
Mm. Okay, all right, and I think there's just one other goal. Well, actually, yeah, Shaka. Chelsea Donko was saying that Shaka was captain at Borussia Mönchengladbach, so he'd be perfect. He'd be a perfect fit to be captain for Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah, as long as he doesn't dive in as he used to and everything else, so it may just give him a bit more responsibility in how he plays on the pitch. So yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the other thing we wanted to talk about? So you gave me your prediction,
Predictions, lineup.
and I think there was one other question. But who's the reason? Yeah. Something comes up. Ryan said this is the third game in 6 days. So again, you have to take that in consideration. I know we've
Yeah.
got we've got strength and depth
Mm.
in the team now, but 3 games, in 6 days is a lot for any professional. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like we mentioned before. We want our team to be fast. We want it to be, to kill teams off and everything else. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes, well, most times it doesn't, because you're getting into a pattern, you get into a rhythm. Certain things happen during the match, and the way that the opposition play as well takes you time to try and figure out how they play. So
Mm.
we're not Man City, we're not Liverpool, we're not Chelsea, we're Arsenal, we're the Arsenal, and we play the way that will suit us. Let that come up, over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, in regards to the competition,
Yeah.
and a lot of people have been scratching their heads there.
I know what they're saying. They're saying, flipping out. The one time I get a chance to win something, I can't find.
Listen, guys, you missed your opportunity because
Go on, earn it.
I was going to stump up half of the prize money, and Ralph's going to stump up the other half. So you know what I mean. So what can I say? All right. So let's just get into it now. So the question was, can you name at least 5 outfield Arsenal players who never scored a goal? And I kind of broaden the spectrum. So thinking about over the last 40 years, that's quite broad.
That is very
But
broad.
so this is the list that I've come across.
Okay.
So the first player is Francis Coquelin. He never scored a goal for
Really?
Arsenal. Armand
Wow.
Traore never scored a goal.
Armand Traore.
Justin Hoyt never scored a goal. I can believe that.
Yeah.
Oleg Luzhny never scored a
Luzhny.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
defender.
about David Seaman?
Well, he's not on the list here, so I guess he scored a goal for Arsenal. But remember, it's outfield player. He's not an outfield player, is he?
Well, it can be if he came up. He used to come for corner. I think he may have come for a corner or something at one stage.
Hey,
Didn't
listen,
he?
I think we might have a winner.
Or
Hey, movie
David.
Guna, man, it's too late, man. Hey, brother, man, it's too late, man. You had it like an hour to competition. Yeah, Matthew Upson never scored a goal. Remy Gard never scored. Gus Caesar never scored a goal. And maybe closer to our era, Alan Hudson never scored a goal.
Alan Hudson.
So,
Alan
yeah.
Hudson. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's it, man. That's it.
So have we got a winner? Or
well, it had to be five outfield players. So people were mentioning, Coquelin, And Ryan is telling me here that Hoyt scored a goal against Charlton in 2007. I need to double check that fact.
Okay.
Yeah, outfield players. And
So have
thank
we
goodness
got?
that meant I'll have to go on.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
That's not the way to look at it, Alex. That's not the... we want to increase the subscribers, not decrease it. We'll increase it. Oh
Yeah,
well, maybe
but anyway, again,
we have to do something,
anyway,
something a bit that
anyway.
give
So
them a fighting
anyone
chance.
who's
Because
watching
I must
again,
admit,
the
that
channel.
shocked me. That did.
Yeah, he did. So again, anyone watching the live stream, because we're about to check out now. Anyone watching the live stream on the channel for the first time, you like what you see, press the subscription button and press the notification button so you can receive the live streams, updates, post-match reviews, pre-match reviews, and everything else on the channel. But yeah, so let's see what's going to happen on Sunday. Anything else you want to add, Raz? Anything else you want to add?
No, like I said, like if you like the videos, we like all subscribers. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, as long as you're an Arsenal fan. As you can see, we always have a bit of a laugh most of the time as well. We've had quite a few subscribers and contributors to the channel. So to those guys, I always give a big shout out to DJ Fury. There's James as well. There's Mulberry. There's everyone. Everyone's who's been on the channel. So I don't get all your names, but you know where it is. You know who we are. We know where you are. Yeah, it's all love. It's all love. So let's keep this this channel going.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, it was a little bit like a little mashup of bits and pieces. Usually when we do the bite-sized live stream, it is like maximum like 40 minutes. But we've gone over as if it were the extended version. So
yeah. Sorry
guys,
about
whoever's watching the live stream, thanks for keeping with us, even though we had like a power shortage there. Everyone who contributed on the chat, yeah, I recognize Mube Guna. Hey, listen, brother, you must come back onto the live stream there. Yeah, so maybe we'll get you back on the show maybe in a couple of weeks, because when we officially back next week, Friday, we're going to be having again Raz and two other new guests on the show. So, brother, I will get you back on the show in a couple of weeks' time. But oh yeah, and even as well, Ryan, we're going to get you to come on the show as well. But I know you're going to be having a live stream. I know I'm going to be on your show in 2 weeks' time. But guys, whoever's come on to the show, whoever has contributed on the chat there, unfortunately, no one could enter the competition in time. Phew, thank God for that. But this this has been Cannon Fodder in association with Raz. For Arsenal fans all over the world, coming live and direct from North London. Get in there.